Welcome, I'm Salsa Ketchup, your VR source, and I'm here with my racing setup because I've got a little something extra to talk about, and it's this. It's a adapter for my Logitech G29 pedals. Now, this adapter is from Bodnar, and basically it takes the pedal output, which is normally connected to here, and turns it into a USB so that I can use my foot pedals on my PC. It also does some other things which I'm going to get into and go over why I'm doing this as we're going through it. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed, please press the subscribe button, tick that notification bell. It's a bell, not a bill. That would be weird. But it's a bell shape. When you do that, and then you'll get notified whenever I'm streaming or I've got new videos going up. Of course, likes are appreciated. Questions in the comments below. Come join us for some of the live streams and things like that. And, well, let's get on with this. I'm here today at my racing rig with a little something different for you. And that is to do with this little cable, which is an adapter cable for the Logitech G29, the G920, or the G25 or G27. And what it does, it basically takes the output from the pedals, which normally go through here. We plug them in here, just like that. And then we have a USB cable that can be plugged straight into a PC. So this little adapter is really very inexpensive, and what it's basically going to do is it's going to take my output cable here from my pedals and it's going to convert it over to USB. When I plug this into my Windows machine, it's going to say, a G25 pedals has been detected. Basically, G25, G27, and the G29 and even the G920s are all compatible with this little adapter. But when you plug this into a Windows machine, it'll show up as a set of G25 pedals, and that's just because of the software that's encoded into this part of the adapter. Now, what this does is it takes the raw data from our pedals and converts everything across. So this now means that it's also got the added benefit that instead of the 8-bit output that we get from the Logitech wheel, this outputs 10-bit. Now what that actually means is takes the signal for our pedals, outputs it to a 10-bit signal to our PC. That means we've got 10-bit precision, which is 1024 steps. When this is just in the G29 base, we only have 256 steps of precision. So this is going to give me a 4 times increase in the accuracy of where I'm pressing my pedals. The other side effect of actually separating my pedals from my G29 base is the G29 has a very aggressive brake point that's programmed into it. So that right at the end of the brake travel, you get this highly aggressive braking. So sometimes you can be braking into a corner and thinking, I've got to brake harder, and you push down, and that tiny bit of travel is maybe near quarter of your whole travel in one go, and that means you've slammed on the brakes, you've overbroke, and you're now skidding. So hopefully this is going to help me alleviate that problem by making, instead of a curved graduation through the braking, I'm going to have a straight linear through the braking. So I'm not going to have that aggressive bite point at the end of my braking. It's also going to help by that increased accuracy so that I can actually accelerate smoother, brake slighter and smoother, and also have a bit more clutch control as I'm actually lifting off on the start line. In the background is some of me driving a Lotus 98T, which, if you're not familiar with it, is a car that's been made famous by Senna, who is one of my all-time heroes when it comes to driving. And, well, let's just say that this is a beast of a motor that I have a very hard time of controlling, and pretty much anybody who drives it would normally have a hard time controlling it, which is why my racing is not exactly brilliant. But I was able to control a lot more than I normally would, so that is one of the things to take away from this setup. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to go over how you configure this in the PC with some graphics and overlay and stuff like that. But the overall impression from me from this cable is that this is going to add a whole new dimension to my driving, and I'm looking forward to where it's going to take me. The adapter comes with a calibration tool, which you can see here, and what I'm simply going to do is press calibrate, and you see we've got a red bar and a blue bar. The red bar is the output, the blue bar is what it sees as the pedal's actual input at the moment. And what I want to kind of do is just press each pedal in turn a couple of times. You don't have to press fast, it's probably better if you press slow so that it kind of registers each part of that. And we just want to do that a couple of times, and you'll notice that there's a couple of black bars that have appeared. And that's going to give us sort of a good range between what the input is and what we actually want the output to the PC to be. So I'm going to do that for my brake as well. And I'm going to be a bit cautious here because I don't want to over press on the brake, because the fake load cell on the G29 pedals, you can press that really quite hard and get a greater range, but that means that you're going to be really pulling hard and pushing down very, very hard, so I don't want to do that too much. And then we've got the clutch, and we're just going to do that a couple of times, nice and easy, boom. And what this is going to let us do is say, okay, that's the physical actual output range of the device. We press stop, calibrate, and you can see we've got some numbers along the top, which is like 18 and 5 and 4 for the red one. So that's our output that's being put out at the moment. And we kind of want a complete range of travel for each of these. So we want that red bar to go from 0 all the way to the max, which is going to be a reading of 1023, because there's 1024 steps of resolution. So what I can do is use these black bars as a guide and say my blue here is saying 117, so if I put 117 in here, we can see the accelerator now says 0 for the red, and then when I put my foot all the way down, it reads that 123. But that's a little bit too harsh. I'm having to put a little bit of extra weight on the end of my pedal, and you can see it's jumping a little bit there, so maybe I'll pull that down one at the start. Still jumping around a bit, put it to there. Let's just see where it kind of averages. Okay, so we've got 0, and then the next number is my maximum point, so I wanted to ease a little bit of having to push hard at the end there, so I'm just going to lower that down, by a couple, let's say 22 at the end. So now when I push down, I should have a nice sort of comfortable range for me to hold the max on my throttle. And I should then be able to go, okay, on average, I'm taking my foot off and it's there. But what's happening is if I actually just quickly release the accelerator, it's going to 0. And if I slowly release the accelerator, which can happen sometimes, you do want to do that sometimes, you can see it's kind of leaving a little bit there. I doubt that's going to make too much difference overall. We'll leave that tiny bit there, I guess. I can always just kind of tap the accelerator slightly and get that result. Same with the brake. Moving on there, we can see if I just let go quickly, we've got this 86. So I put this to 86 in the bottom end, and I'm just going to kind of see if it jumps around a bit there, which doesn't. Then I'm going to see if the end point feels comfortable for me. I've still got a tiny bit of give there at the end that I could. No, that would be me really pushing kind of hard. So I think I'm going to expand that end point just a tiny bit. So we'll put this to 6.4, just so that I know at the very end there I've actually got to push really quite hard. So if I was in a real panic, then it'd be like, yeah, okay, I've had to really chomp down on the brakes to get that last bit of travel. But from here, it's really nice and smooth. And one of the things you have to notice here is that if this was the default interface for the G29, there would actually be a very sharp curve at the end. So what you'd get from travel with the G29 typically is you'd go through the first part of the brake, which would be up to, say, here, this halfway point, or a little bit beyond, and then a tiny amount will actually spike it to there, and that would be the tiniest amount of travel, whereas here it's actually nice and linear. It's nice and straight relationship between that, so I don't have like a really harsh curve and ramp point, which has really helped me in The Sims. When you press the right settings button to save the settings that you've set up with the configuration tool, it actually writes the settings to the cable, so you don't actually have to run this program separately every time that you plug the cable in, because the cable's got it all set into it. With that, what's my overall conclusion? This really very low price, it's £23.99, so about $30 odd, is really worth it for the PC side. It's a really good mod to have, and has certainly given me immediate payoffs where I've been able to control the slides and actually bring cars back under control that normally I would have a lot of problems with. So I would 100% recommend this as a cheaper way to get a little bit more out of your equipment than you have possibly at the moment. And that's it from me and this video on this cable. If you enjoyed this content, then please press the like, subscribe if you haven't already, click the notification bell if you want to see the notifications when there are new videos up, and of course any comments or questions down below and I will try to answer for you. But that's it for me from now, so goodbye, and yeah, go see some other videos. They're like up there somewhere.